Hey everybody, okay, we've got a bunch of math-specific flashcards coming your way to help you study for that real estate examination. Without further ado, enjoy these, study hard, study well, and good luck with your exams. Boot. The surplus cash or the non-like-kind property that an investor receives during a 1031 exchange when the value of the replacement property is less than the value of the relinquished property. The tax on boot must be paid at the time of the transaction and cannot be deferred. Cubic footage. Cubic footage is a measure of volume that indicates the total space within an area, calculated by multiplying the length, width, and height of a space. Commonly used to determine the capacity of storage areas or buildings. Long-term capital gains. Long-term capital gains are assets held for more than 1 year before being sold, which are usually taxed at a lower rate than short-term capital gains. Sales comparison approach. The sales comparison approach is an appraisal method that compares a subject property to comparable properties, including other recently sold properties in the area with similar characteristics. Adjustable rate mortgage, or ARM. An ARM is a type of home loan where the interest rate can change over time based on market conditions. Typically, ARMs start with a fixed interest rate for an initial period after which the rate adjusts periodically, usually annually, based on specific indexes. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI. PMI is a type of insurance that protects lenders in the event a borrower defaults on a mortgage, typically required when the borrower makes a down payment of less than 20%. Market value. The market value is the estimated amount for which a property should sell on the open market, influenced by factors such as location, condition, and market conditions. Adjusted basis. The adjusted basis, the original purchase price of a property, adjusted by adding the cost of any improvements or major expenses minus any depreciation. Fixed rate mortgage. A fixed rate mortgage is a mortgage loan where the interest rate remains constant throughout the term of the loan, resulting in stable monthly payments. Net operating income, or NOI. The NOI is the total annual income generated by a property after deducting all operating expenses such as property taxes, maintenance, and insurance. Note, NOI does not include debt service or mortgage payments. It focuses solely on the property's income and operating expenses. Tax depreciation. Tax depreciation is a deduction that allows owners of income-producing properties to recover the cost of an asset over its useful life by accounting for the decrease in value due to wear and tear, deterioration, or obsolescence. Real property transfer fees. Transfer fees are charges levied by local governments when ownership of a property is transferred from one party to another, typically based on the property's sales price. Brokerage split. A brokerage split is the percentage of the commission from a real estate transaction that is divided between the agent and their brokerage. For example, in a 60-40 split, the agent keeps 60% of the commission while the brokerage takes 40%. Amortization. Amortization is the gradual repayment of a loan over time through scheduled installments, which include both principal and interest until the total amount is fully paid off. Down payment. The initial payment made by the buyer towards the purchase of a property, usually expressed as a percentage of the purchase price. This payment reduces the total amount that needs to be financed. Acre. An acre is a unit of land measurement that is equal to 43,560 square feet, used for measuring large plots of land, particularly in agriculture, real estate, and land development. Capital gains. Capital gains are the profit from selling an asset, calculated by subtracting the adjusted basis from the selling price. Interest. Interest is the cost a borrower pays to a lender for using borrowed money, typically expressed as a percentage of the loan amount. Amortization chart. An amortization chart is a table that shows how each monthly loan payment is divided between principal and interest over the life of the loan. Depreciation. Depreciation is the decrease in the value of a property over time due to factors like wear and tear, aging, and obsolescence. Escrow account. A neutral third-party account where the funds from a transaction are kept until the terms of their release are met, typically used to hold a buyer's earnest money or to collect and manage payments for property taxes and homeowners insurance as part of a mortgage, ensuring that the obligations are paid on time. Cost approach. The cost approach is a valuation method that estimates the property value based on the cost to reproduce or replace it. Break-even analysis. A break-even analysis determines the point at which an investment property generates enough income to cover all of its expenses. Debt-to-income ratio. The DTI ratio is a financial metric used by lenders to measure a borrower's monthly debt payments relative to their gross monthly income. Loan origination fees. Loan origination fees are charges imposed by lenders to cover the administrative costs of processing a mortgage loan application and facilitating the loan origination process. Exponential decay. A process where something decreases at a consistent percentage over time instead of dropping by a fixed amount. Net cash flow. The net cash flow is the amount of money remaining from rental income after subtracting operating expenses and debt payments. Gross rent multiplier. The GRM is a method for estimating the value of an income property by comparing its cost to the amount of gross rental income it produces. Section. A section is a measurement in the rectangular survey system that represents an area of 1 square mile and is 1/36th of a township. A section is equivalent to 640 acres. Real estate owned, REO. REOs are properties that are owned by a lender, usually after the foreclosure, which can provide an opportunity for investors looking to buy distressed property. Net proceeds. The net proceeds are the amount of money a seller receives from the sale of a property after all expenses such as commissions, taxes, and closing costs that have been deducted. Vacancy rate. The vacancy rate is a percentage of rental units that are unoccupied and not generating income, which can affect an investor's cash flow and overall profitability. Meridian. A meridian is a line that runs north-south that is used as a reference point to the government survey system to help divide and map land. Homeowners insurance. Insurance that protects against damage or loss to a property, including coverage for the structure, personal belongings, and liability. Government survey system. The government survey system is also called the rectangular survey system, is a method to describe the boundaries of a property using a grid of intersecting lines, including meridians running north-south and baselines running east-west to create townships and sections. Principal. The principal is the portion of a mortgage payment that goes towards paying down the loan amount. Capitalization rate. The cap rate is a metric used by real estate investors to estimate the potential return on investment for a property. A higher cap rate generally indicates a higher potential return. Modified accelerated cost recovery system. A tax depreciation system used in the United States that allows for a faster recovery of the cost of depreciable property through annual deductions. Transfer fees, also known as transfer taxes. Transfer taxes are charges imposed by local government when property ownership is transferred from one party to another. These fees are typically calculated as a percentage of the sales price or assessed value of the property. City property taxes. Local taxes imposed by a city government on property owners to help fund municipal services, which are often an addition to regular property taxes. Useful life. The useful life is the estimated period during which an asset is expected to be economically useful for its intended purpose. In real estate, the useful life is typically 27.5 years for residential properties and 39 years for commercial properties. Prorations. Prorations are the divisions of financial responsibilities, such as property taxes and utility bills, between the buyer and seller as of the closing date. Linear feet. Linear feet are a unit of measurement that are used to measure the length in a straight line. Appreciation. Appreciation is the increase in a property's value over time due to factors like improvements made to the property, changes in the local market, or overall economic conditions. Range. Range is the vertical strip of land between two meridians running north-south in the government's survey system. Earnest money. Earnest money is a deposit made to demonstrate a buyer's serious intent to purchase a property, which is held in escrow until the closing of the transaction. Short-term capital gains. Short-term gains are assets held for and sold within 1 year of the purchase, which are typically taxed at higher rates than long-term capital gains. Township. A township is a geographic area in the rectangular survey system identified by its locations from the baseline and the principal meridian lines, measuring 6 square miles on each side and containing 36 sections. Property taxes. Taxes assessed based on the value of the real or personal property typically used to fund local public services. 1031 exchange. A 1031 exchange is a tax deferment strategy that allows real estate investors to defer paying capital gains taxes when they sell an investment property for a like-kind property. Closing costs. Closing costs are the various fees and expenses associated with finalizing a real estate transaction. These costs may include attorney's fees, title insurance, recording fees, and other charges that are due at closing. Commission. Commissions are fees paid to a real estate professional for their services, typically calculated by a percentage of the property's sales price. Depreciation. A second definition of depreciation is a tax deduction to account for the loss of value to income-producing properties. Discount points. Discount points are an upfront fee paid by the borrower to reduce the mortgage interest rate. Each discount point typically equals 1% of the loan amount and can lower the interest rate, resulting in lower monthly payments. Equity. Equity is the difference between the current market value of a property and the amount owed on any mortgages or any loans secured by that property. It represents the owner's interest in the property. Gross income. Gross income is the total income generated from all sources before any expenses are deducted, often used to evaluate rental properties. Gross income multiplier. The GIM is a calculation used to estimate the value of an income-producing property by dividing the sales price by the anticipated potential gross income. Income capitalization approach. The income cap approach is a method used to estimate the value of an income-producing property by analyzing its income potential by applying a capitalization rate that reflects the market's expected return on the investment. Like-kind property. Like-kind property is real estate that is of the same nature, character, or class as another property in a 1031 exchange. Both properties must be used for investments or business purposes, but they don't have to be exactly the same type. Example, an office building can be exchanged for an apartment complex. Loan-to-value ratio. LTV is a ratio that compares the amount of the loan to the appraised value of the property, expressed as a percentage. It is used by lenders to assess the risk of a loan. Millage rate. Mill is a rate used to calculate property taxes equal to 0.1%, 0.1 of a property's assessed value. Parallel. Parallel is a line that runs east-west in the government survey system used to measure and divide land into sections. Perimeter. The perimeter is the total distance around the outside of a property or structure, calculated by adding the lengths of all of its sides. Pity, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Pity represents the four main components of a typical monthly mortgage payment: principal, interest, taxes, and homeowner's insurance. Rectangular survey system. The rectangular survey system is referred to as the government survey system. It is a system to legally identify, measure, and describe real property using longitude and latitude lines for reference. Relinquished property. The relinquished property is property that is sold or exchanged by an investor in a 1031 exchange. Replacement property. The replacement property is property that is purchased or acquired by an investor in exchange for the relinquished property in a 1031 exchange. Section. A section is a unit of land measurement used in the government survey system, representing an area of 1 square mile or 640 acres. Straight line depreciation. Straight line depreciation is a financial accounting method that spreads the cost of an asset evenly over its useful life, allowing property owners to deduct a consistent amount from their taxable income each year. Township. A township is a square area measuring 6 miles on each side and containing 36 sections, each of which is 1 square mile, or 640 acres. A township covers 36 square miles. I hope you found those vocab phrases helpful. Study hard. Keep working on them. Chip away at those, and they're going to help you get through this examination. Now, for those of y'all that are having a little bit more difficulty with the math, if you need, we have an additional math book that's available on Amazon right now. We just came out with it. It is awesome. I stripped down everything, only give you the essential topics. We give you plenty of examples, plenty of practice, and there's QR code videos that you can get reinforcement with if you need them. I'll drop a link in the description below. Hope you're doing well. Thanks again for subscribing and checking out our channel. I hope you're enjoying the content. Comment below. Let us know if there's anything we can do, any topics that we can cover for you. Thank you very much for all of the support, and good luck with your studies and good luck on your exams. We'll see you in the next video.